As you may recall, earlier this year I re-reviewed Friday the 13th, the final chapter for its anniversary, but however, since I already re-reviewed the first two Fridays, I failed to do a re-review of this one, so I'm going to try to make up for that. Since it's Friday the 13th today, get ready as I re-review Friday the 13th, Part 3. This is Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Doyle Bear, known to you as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a solo re-review because I did part 2 and 3 of this together earlier when I started doing videos. A solo re-review of the 1982 slasher flick Friday the 13th Part 3, released by Paramount, directed by Steve Miner, and produced by Frank Mancuso Jr., starring Dana Kimmell, Paul Kratka, and Richard Brooker as Jason. This, of course, is the follow up to Friday the 13th Part 2 and third installment of the Friday franchise. If you haven't seen my re review of Part 2, you can go click on that because I'm going to go ahead and just give you that instead of my new playlist, okay? Anyway, this film was set directly after the events of the previous films and follows a teenage girl and her friends who go on a trip to a house near Crystal Lake where a wounded Jason Voorhees has taken refuge until re-emerging for another killing spree. This also marks the first appearance of the signature hockey mask of Jason's, which has since become a trademark of both the character and the franchise, as well as an icon in American cinema and the horror genre in general. The film was released on August 13th, 1982. And this film really got dissed big time. The original storyline was supposed to focus on post traumatic Jenny Field from the previous film, who began learning self defense and returned to college after surviving her ordeal in the previous film. After finding Paul's corpse inside her dormitory, she prepares to track down Jason and face him in a final confrontation, but this concept was abandoned when Amy Steele declined to reprise her role. Yes. Now, this film was also intended to end the series of its as a trilogy. However, unlike many of its successors, the film did not include a moniker in its title to indicate it as such. So, let's get started with the story. After the events of Part 2, a badly injured and unmasked Jason Voorhees goes to a lakefront store for a change of clothes. While there, he murders a store owner, Harold, and his wife, Edna. Meanwhile, Chris Higgins and her friends travel to Higgins Haven, her old home on Crystal Lake, to spend the weekend. The gang includes pregnant Debbie and her boyfriend Andy, prankster Shelly, his blind date Vera, who does not reciprocate his feelings, and stoners Chuck and Chili. After running into a man named Abel, who apparently turns out to be the crazy Ralph of the film, who warns them to turn back, the gang meets Chris's boyfriend Rick at their destination. At the convenience store, Shelly and Vera get into a confrontation with bikers Ali, Fox, and Loco. Shelly gets in the car and knocks down their motorcycles, impressing Vera. Later, the bikers show up at Higgins Haven, where they take the gas out of the van and attempt to burn the barn down to get even. Jason, who has been hiding inside the barn, murders Fox and Loco with a pitchfork before being Ali unconscious. That night, Chris and Rick head out into the woods, where Chris reveals that she was attacked by a deformed man 2 years prior, which prompted her to leave Crystal Lake in the first place. The main reason that she returned was to confront her fears. Her overall memory of the incident is unclear. Back at Higgins Haven, a scorned Shelly scares Vera with a hockey mask and then wanders into the barn where Jason slashes his throat off screen. Wearing Shelly's mask, Jason emerges from the barn and Vera retrieves Shelly's wallet from under the dock. Then is promptly shot in the eye with a spear gun. Jason enters the house and chops a hand-standing Andy in half with a machete. Debbie finishes her shower and rests on a hammock where Jason thrusts a knife through her chest from beneath, which factually just cuts off, which is similar to Jack's death in the original. When the power goes out in the house, Chuck goes downstairs to the basement, only for Jason to hurl him into the fuse box, electrocuting him. And Chili finds a dying Shelly, and Jason impales her with a hot fire poker. Now for the ending, you know the procedure. 5 seconds to sub this video. Go to the description box below and fast forward to the time below as I count down now. If you've seen this already, please continue. Okay, you've been warned. When Rick's car dies, Chris and Rick are forced to walk back to the house to find it in disarray. Rick steps outside to search the grounds, but Jason grabs him and crushes his skull with his bare hands, making one of his eyes pop out of its socket. Jason then attacks Chris, who narrowly escapes the house and tries to flee in her van. With the van running out of gas, Chris enters the barn to hide, only for Jason to attack again. Inside the barn, Chris strikes Jason over the head with a shovel and hangs him. He regains consciousness and temporarily removes his mask to free himself from the noose, which causes Chris to recognize him as the same man who attacked her 2 years prior. An awoken Ali tries to attack Jason, but Jason quickly finishes him off. The distraction allows Chris to strike Jason in the head with an axe. He staggers momentarily towards her before finally collapsing. Exhausted, Chris pushes a canoe out into the lake and falls asleep. Chris has a nightmare of an unmasked Jason running towards her from the house before disappearing, which then cuts to the decomposing body of Pamela Voorhees with her head attached, emerging from the lake to pull her in. Yeah, which kind of rips off of what we saw in Alice's nightmare in the first film. The following morning, the police arrive and escort a traumatized Chris, who has gone insane, away from Higgins Haven. Jason's body is shown to still be lying in the barn as the lake is shown seemingly at peace. End of story. So what did I think of Friday the 13th Part 3? Well, I consider this to be, well, a fairly good film. I don't know if I would consider it be one of my favorites anymore. Well, I do like it for some reasons, though. But anyway, well, despite the film got this though, but still it was a big success, going on to make 36 million against its $2.2 million budget. It was also the first film to remove E.T. from the #1 box office spot and became the second highest grossing horror film of 82 behind Poltergeist. And it has the third most attendance of the Friday the 13th franchise, with approximately 11,762,400 tickets sold. 2 years later, a direct sequel, Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter, was released. With its rating on Rotten Tomatoes set at a mere 7%, they say Jason may solidify his iconic wardrobe in this century, but the film lacks any other distinguishing features, relying on a tired formula of stab and repeat. Yes, I agree, but still, some of it I actually liked. Now, a mixed review comes from Janet Maslin, a film critic, in a review she did for in the New York Times, says that, well, she praised the acting for Kimmell, Savage, Rogers, and Parks, and what she called a major improvement to the acting in the previous films, and wrote that Meyer's use of 3D filmmaking was innovative and the most professional ever when compared to other films released at the time, saying as in each of the other recent 3D movies, of which this is easily the most professional. There is a lot of time devoted to trying out the gimmick. Tiles loom toward you, yo-yos spin, popcorn bounces, snakes dart toward the camera and strike. Eventually, the novelty wears off, and what remains is the now familiar spectacle of nice dumb kids being lopped, chopped, and perforated. She also felt the film was superior to the prior two films in the series. Now, Variety provided a general consensus saying the Friday the 13th was dreadful and took in more than 17 million. Part 2 was just as bad and took in more than 10 million. This one is terrible This part is terrible too, but add there are some dandy 3D sequences, however, of a yo yo going up and down and popcorn popping. Well, that's understandable. 3D was fine and what have you, but yeah. But nevertheless, I will say that the 3D is not too bad, but I don't really watch in 3D every time. Maybe every once in a while. I'd rather just watch in its 2D format. I do have it on DVD containing 3D glasses. Anywho, the music, of course, like the other films, was once again done by Harry Manfredini. A disco theme was also included in the film, co-written by Manfredini and Michael Zager, who shared a credit with a fictional band called Hot Eyes. And I must say, that was pretty cool. The main theme was totally cool. And I liked it. Now, as for our cast, we do have Dana Kimmell as Chris Higgins. She was also in another slasher film that was being done at that same time, but didn't get released until the next year, I believe. And that, of course, was the film Sweet 16. As a matter of fact, she had recently appeared in an episode of The Facts of Life on TV before doing that as well. Paul Kratka plays Rick. He was good. Tracie Savage played Debbie, not bad. Jeffrey Rogers played Andy. Yeah, he was not too bad. Catherine Parks as Vera. I thought she was good. Larry Zerner as Shelly. Yeah, he can be an oddball, goofball at times and whatever, but hey, he's just there to provide humor and all that jazz. David Katims plays Chuck and Rachel Howard played Chili. We have Nick Savage as Ollie, Gloria Charles as Fox, and Kimmell O'Brien as Loco. Yeah. We also do have archive footage from previous films like Betsy Palmer, Amy Steele, John Fury, and Steve Deskowitz, the previous Jason from the previous film, are credited for their special appearance. But Richard Brooker as Jason was pretty good, but he wasn't. He's not really one of the best Jasons, but he still does a real good job when he's on screen. So anyway, well, the story isn't too bad, but I do think the cast is pretty good. I do like Harry Manfredini's score. Steve Miner, who had directed the previous film, is back to do this one. I was surprised, but like the last part, he did pretty good. I'm not really sure where I'd put this if I did another ranking of this franchise. It's hard to decide or not I like some of these Friday the 13th films. Final Chapter's still my favorite of the films. Okay, enough said. So with everything said, and of course some of the and well, like I said, the direction's not too bad either. So overall, Friday the 13th Part 3 can be a hit or miss with y'all. Okay, so would I recommend the film? Well, I'd recommend a one-time watch unless you are a hardcore Friday the 13th completist. Okay. That's all I can tell you. So, what did you think of Friday the 13th Part 3? Let me know in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, be a part of the Big D Nation. Continue to help support my channel. Make it grow and make the views grow. Tell all your friends about my channel. I would love for them to get to know my channel and me and all that jazz. You know what I'm saying. And coming soon will be my Saturday morning TV log on the Superpowers team, Galactic Guardians. Will I do more Friday the 13th re-reviews? Of course I will. Just when the time comes, so be ready for that. So anyway, that's the end of this video. If you like this, check out these other videos I've done. In the upper left-hand corner is my re-review of the original Friday the 13th. The upper right-hand corner is my re-review of the film that came after this, Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Or if you'd like, go to the maybe some, or if you'd like maybe more of Dan Kimmel, you can check out my review of Sweet 16. And the bottom right hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.